You're listening to The Objective Jerk, and I am said jerk. What is up? How's everybody doing? Everybody was kung fu fighting. Dude, apparently I saw a thing where that they were saying that song is like racist now. Fucking everything is racist now. It's so annoying. But what's up? How's everyone doing? Hope all is well. I'm doing all right, pretty good. Didn't get everything set up in time, so now I'm here talking while I'm trying to. Okay. So what's up? Let's see what's going on here. Yeah, they had that. I don't know. Did I talk about the building collapsing in down south, closer to Manila? It's like Angeles. It's like Los Angeles, but without the loss. It's just Angeles City and Angeles City. There was a hotel or something that was being constructed and collapsed. There's a guy who, I don't know his story. He's probably retired military, and he's living there, and he's kind of reporting on it a little bit. Just he drives around on his moped and just shows what it's like there. And then so I subscribe to his channel, and it does seem, he likes to just show like how his life there and stuff. And it's I don't know, I think it's way more interesting than anything I got to say. Especially for people that don't live here. It's funny just how different this guy and I are. I'm assuming single. I don't know. There's no kids. He just hangs out with his friends, does whatever, goes out to bars and stuff like that. So, which I don't, he's got to be my age or maybe a little older. But I mean, I wouldn't want to go to bars anyway. So it's not like, my gosh, I'm so, even if I was single and stuff, I wouldn't be going out to bars. I'm trying to look him up so I can share his. I thought I subscribed to the guy. Dang it, I guess not. Didn't I? Oh, this is it right here. Chubbs Dub C. Anyway, he's gotten a lot of views, I guess, from the collapse because he went and rode his moped, and he's got a GoPro on or something. I don't know. So it's getting everything, and so you get to see what's a good view of what's going on. And then he goes to another building to get like a bird's eye view, which was pretty cool actually, to show just how massive it was. And then he posted a video or that he took like the day of, like hours before it collapsed, and kind of showed just life how it was before and stuff like that. So that's kind of interesting, but he's much more, it seems like he's much more accepting to the way that they drive. You know what I mean? Like he's doing his moped, he's just talking and he's all happy. I'd be like, motherfucker, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like I don't know. It's just like a pet peeve of mine, I guess, driving. I don't know. Although it is funner to ride around in a moped. That's why my little talk, that's what I drive. And it's much more, or it's less annoying and stressful. Like the traffic and the way they drive is less cumbersome to me. Like I enjoy it more because, I don't know, I can kind of get around some stuff when people are taking forever to back out or whatever. It's like I can get through because I'm not in a full-size car. So, but anyway, so I don't know, I'm always trying to figure out Filipino culture and the people, right? And people who listen or watch probably think like I just hate Filipinos. I don't. I live here. I'm married to a Filipino. Yes, there are things that bug me, but I'm happy here. You know what I mean? Maybe it doesn't seem like it, but but I am. And I kind of think it's just similar to like the States, people in the South talk and do have, whatever regular things and do things differently than people do in New York or on the West Coast or in, the Midwest. It's all a little different. So I think it's kind of similar to that for here. So like for me, like it annoys me, like people stare at me like crazy instead of driving. They're like, dude, hurry up, quit looking at me. In Manila, that doesn't happen because you got all kinds of, it's a lot more of a melting pot there than it is here. There are white people where I live, and I do see them occasionally, but I don't know. I guess it's just, we stand out. So, does it bother me? It doesn't bother me, but it is kind of annoying sometimes when people stare at you. But, no, the biggest thing though for me is, there's the driving and stuff, but communication and like planning ahead, those two things, I'm not saying that Filipinos can't do it, but where I'm located, it kind of seems like it's not a strength. You know what I'm saying? And I got a prime example. I talk about it all the time with certain things, or I've talked about before. I mainly talk about the driving, but so okay, let me backtrack a little bit. So probably about a couple months after we moved here, we had like a little restaurant built in the front of our property. Now, when I say restaurant, it's not like, a franchise or anything like in the States. It's, it's not a hut, but it's in between a hut and a restaurant. There was a bathroom and, it had walls and concrete and stuff like that, but it was pretty basic and stuff. But so we opened that restaurant and my wife had it going for a couple years. It was doing really well. Everybody loves the food that she was making. But when her mother passed, she stopped doing it, for one, because, she just wasn't in the mood to do it or whatever. But then once her mother passed, she had to kind of put a lot of her attention towards her father, because her father takes up a lot of her time because he's elderly and needs some help, and he's always calling her and stuff like that. So I can't see. Oh, there we go. Okay. Oh, this is like right in my face. Huh? Okay. But people are always asking, like, when's she gonna open up again? When's she gonna open up again? And she wants to, and she's always planning on it. But then she's gotten into pickleball, and it's getting pretty popular. So we're gonna do a pickleball court. Well, originally, like, we were going to do a half court basketball for my son, for the kids and stuff, so they could have somewhere to play. And then it turned into a pickleball court with, you could, like a immovable basketball hoop, I guess, for my son to play if he wants to. So that's kind of where we were going, right? We're like, okay, we're planning on what we'd have to do to the property, because now that's where we park our cars, we wouldn't be able to park anymore, and so there's lots of stuff that needs to be changed and whatever. And so we've been planning and thinking about it and all that stuff. And then my wife's cousin, he wants to open up his own kind of little restaurant thing. But he kind of he wants to use the existing structure, which right now it's just a storage full of crap with our stuff. So it doesn't look like a restaurant at all anymore. But when he brought that up, my wife was kind of under the impression that he wanted to open up her restaurant again, like help her maybe manage, like work as a partners and kind of do whatever. But then it slowly kind of turned in, he wants to do his own thing, his own whatever. And so she's like, well, so it's not really jiving with what we want to do. So then she was thinking maybe he'll open up his thing, and then she'll have the pickleball court separate, but they're right there. People can come and eat, or people have pickleball court, and while they're playing, they can order food from him, although it's not going to be her food. I don't know. and to me, I was like, I don't know, it just seems a little chaotic. I didn't really like it, but I was like, well, get the pickleball court, and then and this guy, her cousin was gonna pay to have it renovated, and then basically, however much money they put into it, we would figure out whatever the rent is and deduct that. So, monthly. So, paying like 5,000 pesos a month or whatever, deduct that from whatever money he puts in. And that's how much basically rent he's paid or free rent he gets, if it's, 2 years, whatever. I don't know. So that's kind of like what they were talking about. My wife wants to have like a written agreement and with, details and whatever, this and that. And then her cousin, they came over and they looked at the restaurant, and I guess they talked about it a little bit or whatever, and then that was kind of it. We were just kind of, we thought that they were kind of looking at other stuff maybe, or maybe thinking about it, I don't know. Well, this morning we wake up and her cousin is here with the contractor that they're going to use, which is actually the brother of a friend of his, and like all his workers, and we're like, what is going on? And her cousin was trying to say, well, they were coming to measure. I didn't know they were going to start working, which I think he was actually lying about. But like, the garage is filled with crap. We're nowhere near ready to have anything to be done. But there's been nothing, no communication, no nothing, And like, so my wife goes out there. I was pissed this morning. I was like, I was really pissed off. So she's like, just stay here. So she goes out there and is like, hey, we can't, it's not going to start until maybe next week at the earliest. But it's like, but we haven't even come to an agreement yet. Like, what is going on? And then, so I guess they were kind of discussing it further, and then they're like, well, her cousin was like, well, can we have all these workers stay at her dad's house? Because he has like he has like 2 homes where his property is. He has his home, and then he has kind of more of a ghetto style kind of home. It's older and just kind of thrown together, but it works. He's like, well, can they stay there? And my wife's like, no, because we have family coming in. That's kind of like the guest house for when family comes. You know what I mean? But see, this is the crap I'm talking about. Like, Filipinos, like, they come up with a plan in their head, but if it involves other people, you need to share those plans, So if he's thinking they're going to come and measure, at the very least, okay, well, did you call him yesterday or something and say, hey, they're going to come and measure or whatever? No, he like texted early this morning when we were like sleeping. So it's like, that doesn't count, And then it's like, and if you're thinking like, we're going to have workers here and they need a place to stay, then you should reach out and be like, hey, can they come, so you can know. It's like, you don't just show up to a hotel. I mean, you can, I guess, but sometimes they're booked. You got to make reservations, the same kind of, but that's that mentality, just the failure to communicate and to plan ahead. It's not just her cousin, but it's like a lot of the people here where I live. It just seems like they're like that, It's very frustrating. But I think we're not gonna do that though. We're just gonna. She wants to do her thing, and I was just like, I think it's just gonna be a problem. I don't think we should do it. So we'll see. Hopefully, I think she's kind of agreeing upon it. But it's like, that's the other thing too. Is like I don't think she really, like, if I'm pissed off or I'm criticizing like one of my cousins or my brother or sister, I'm gonna tell them, and I'm gonna be forthcoming. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna like dance around it and dilly dally and whatever. What is that coming over here? I see something. Oh, that's over. Oh, it's my curtain. Okay. But they're like, they never want to say anything to make anybody mad, or it's just like, gosh, man, just tell them straight up, dude. This is bullshit. You don't just show up unannounced. And you're gonna, like, we're nowhere near ready. Like, we haven't even agreed to anything yet, and you're having people come here to to start work? Like, what are you thinking? What? It's like, dude, you, you know what I mean? It's like, come on. It's not like he's going to an open property and nothing's there. You know, it's like you got to communicate with people. If he was thinking this, he should have been like last week, been like, hey, I'm kind of hoping, well, we should be like, hey, we need to come to an agreement because I want to have some workers come. You know what I mean? Like, come on. It's like common sense. But that's the thing is like, that's at least here. Okay. Not all Filipino. Well, even not all Filipinos here where I live. But this kind of lack of communication and planning ahead is very rampant here where I live. It just seems it's very commonplace, and it can just be so annoying. Anyway, so that's kind of what's going on with me. Updates on the White House shooting. So, oh man, I know it was like a black dude that, you know, people are like, oh, you see that skit with who did that skit where they're, you know, like a news report. I think it was Key and Peele or whatever, and they're waiting to see. They're like, oh, a shooter or something did whatever, and they're all waiting to see if it's like a white person or a black person. You know, and they're like, oh man, or yes, you know. But yeah, so it's some mental health black dude with I don't know. Dang it, what was? They haven't still put out too much. But it's just, you know, they keep saying, now they're like saying mental health, mental health. But if it was like some white guy, they'd be like, oh, he's far right, Trump support. You know what I mean? Like, just, I don't know. It's just the same shit. What's funny is there's one of the reporters, because there's always reporters at the White House, right? And they have their own little stations or whatever. And when the shooting happened, there's a couple videos of reporters, you know, recording at the time, going live or whatever, and then stuff happens, and then you see like how they react or whatever. And there's this one female who's getting all kinds of shit, but it's just it just kind of goes to show you the people that, you know. So this lady's reporting the news and, you know, trying to pushing like these agendas, but then when you see like her reaction to the shooting, she's a complete idiot. You know what I mean? And like, I mean, all of them are like, whoa, what's that? Hold on a second. It takes them a second, but then they're like, oh shit, you know? And, and this girl's just like, what is that? What is that? You know what I mean? And it's funny because her like questionable bitch face is like, she just doesn't look, you know, she's all, when she's doing her reporting and stuff, she looks all pretty, and then she was all just like, you know what I mean? Just not attractive to me. And but now there's all kinds of memes and stuff with it, and it's just funny. But that's, you know, it's a lot of people like that are just really clueless to a lot of things in the world, but yet they're the ones that are like the most vocal about telling other people how they should live and do stuff when they don't know shit. I'm not saying everybody knows what a gunshot sounds like, or, you know, would pick up on it as quick. You know, it could backfire, but when it's like ga 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 ga, you know, it's like, oh shit, that sounds like gunfire. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just, I mean, you know, people who've been around it will pick up on it immediately, quickly. You know, like if I hear gunfire or if I hear backfire from a motorcycle, I think gunfire first, but that's just because of my experiences. And then when I do hear gunfire, like it's unmistakable. You know what I mean? Like, oh, that's somebody shooting something. You know what I mean? So it's just, but it's just kind of funny. So when you have individuals such as this woman who just doesn't, I don't know, it's not a good look for her. She's probably not gonna, I'm curious to find out, she's gonna end up getting moved to the side, producing behind the scenes or something for a little while, or go somewhere, because it's just, the memes are just like, you know, relentless, but they're hilarious though at the same time. So it's funny. All right, what else is going on? Gavin Fuckface. He's crying for help from Trump because of the chemical crack in a chemical container that holds chemicals, which I don't think exploded, but now there's like something else that exploded in Washington, and it just same kind of whatever. But it's just, I don't know. California has like the biggest is almost like its own country. You know what I mean? And they talk about how they have their own GDP, or their GDP is so massive and all this kind of stuff. But then they can't do simple things like clearing the brush and doing what they're supposed to do because a lot of that money gets embezzled. And it's like it's kind of a dickhead thing to say, but I almost want to be like, fuck you. Look what happened to the people in East Palestine, Ohio. Like Biden and them, they fucking drug their feet. They kind of fucked that all up, and they're paying for it still, And now this, and then you got Gavin's like crying for help. He's such a worthless piece of shit. They should help him. It is, that's the job, the federal government's job to help whatever this and that. But it just kind of, they talk all this shit, and then when shit hits the fan, they cry like little bitches and ask for help. That's basically the liberal mindset. Yeah, pretty much. And then let's see, I saw what was it on? Probably X, I'm guessing. But like a black reverend, because I think his name was Reverend something, not Al Sharpton or anything like that. But he was saying, or he posted that George Floyd deserves to be buried in Arlington Cemetery. And like, what? Do you even know what the Arlington Cemetery is? It's for heroes. Yeah, military. But it's not. It's for military. George Floyd died of an overdose. Like, that's common knowledge. But yeah, he's still this hero. Gosh, man, you just can't make this stuff up. Was the world this crazy? We just didn't know it because of social media. People were this retarded and stupid. Like, I don't know. It's just God. Liberals are so stupid. I don't know. Like I say, I don't know. Like liberals to me are the retarded left, the quote unquote Democrats, but they're socialist and psycho, whatever. Like a regular Democrat is pretty based. You know what I mean? But there's so many, like they just went so far, and it's just, they're so stupid. Like, what? How do you think do you think that's going to happen? No, it doesn't. No, nobody other than the military is going to be buried at Arlington Cemetery, no matter how much. Even if George Floyd was a hero and he risked his life and saved a kid and was, or something, you know what I mean? First of all, dying from police is not really being a hero, even if he was actually murdered by the police, which he wasn't. But if he had been, doesn't make him a hero. Okay, sucks, but no, he would have to have ran into a burning building, and saving people and stuff like that. But even then, you don't deserve to be buried at Arlington Cemetery. Like, how fucking dumb do you have to be? Like, do they have to take some sort of, I just don't know. I'm not a smart guy, but geez, like, it's just common sense, man. These people drive me up the wall. Drive me up the wall. Yes, they do. Anyway, but that's kind of it. Just wanted to share a little Filipino culture with you. And that's it. Plus, it's been 4 days since I did a podcast. So, anyway, let me know what you think. Appreciate your time. Hope all is well, and I'll see you next time. All right. God bless. All right. Bye.
Say something for the podcast. Tell the people what you feel.